Hello, so update. There's not a whole lot to tell you about because I'm still not working. So it's frustrating. I'm scared. I've cried out to God and I'm trying to be grateful. I really feel like He's making me learn to rest, learn to trust Him, and just be still. I'm not used to being still. I'm a little bit hyper. I'm intense. That's typical of Enneagram Type 5. We tend to be kind of hyper. I've always been told, oh, you look like you're hyper. But if I was to take an ADHD test or ADD, I'm not hyperactive. I think I'm just nervous. But and I'm not used to sitting still. So I've worked since, well, even before I was legally able to work at 16, I was working. So I've always worked, and even in foster care, I was carried a job, and on top of the expectation of doing all the chores and keeping up with my schoolwork and all that stuff. So, yeah. So, but anyway, I've applied at anything and everything. And even jobs that don't require a master's, don't require a bachelor's degree, that, basic, I've applied to everything. And it's just frustrating because usually in the fall, most companies get their budget and their approval to hire a lot of, employees. But it doesn't seem the case this year. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what if the recession is causing a setback in that area. I guess that might be it. It might be because of the recession. But it's frustrating that one job with that lady that led me along, I felt like she was she really did. She led me along. She told me I was a top contender and I was going to be the last person she interviewed. She wanted my driver's license and my social security card and my current transcripts and from grad school. I sent her everything. I scanned it all and sent all of that to her. And then all of a sudden, the strange phone call saying that she uncovered that I had a relative working there. And I'm like thinking she's absolutely nuts because all my family are dead. I have an older sister, but my older sister is out west and has nothing to do with this type of field. So it's just, I felt like it was a game, and I thought, okay, well, maybe she found somebody with the same surname as me. Maybe she thought assumed because of the same surname that I'm related, but that's really ridiculous. So I told her I don't have any relatives working there. I don't have any relatives in Texas, period. And she asked for my transcripts again, and I sent them again. And they're official, they're from Parchment, and you can clearly see my grades, and then nothing. She didn't hire me. So, it's just frustrating because she kept saying I was a top contender. But in the same thing, though, I was evaluating her and I could tell she had a low self-esteem. She didn't bother washing her hair. It was greasy, pulled in a ponytail. She looked like she was going through depression. And I don't know if it's because of the job itself or marital problems or just her having her own mental issues. I don't know. It's not my place to have to be her evaluator or counselor or whatever. And it's just frustrating, though, that it went the way it went. And then when she would ask me scenarios, I would answer the scenarios, and it's like she was competing with me, and she didn't have a long work background, I could tell. And I could tell she climbed the ladder quickly and became a manager quickly. And her examples were just from her time being an intern, not actually working in the field. So mine were from actually working in the field. I did my due diligence. I paid my way to go through grad school, and same with college. And it's just, it is what it is. And I applied at a postal job, a United States Post Office job. Applied at 2 positions, and the expectations were, can you lift 70 pounds? And you're going to have to drive in all kinds of crappy weather, no matter what the weather conditions. And in Texas, they don't prepare when there's an ice storm or snow. They wait until after the fact, everything has gone to hell, and then they prepare. Their electricity grid is crap. They don't prepare it ahead of time. They allow electricity to go off in many communities. Last year, the Walmart nearby me, when I was finally able to get out of my apartment complex parking lot and down out of the road, all the food was gone. It was all spoiled because they had been without electricity for over a week. So situations like that, and so the governor supposedly, appealing to the government and fighting the electricity grid and saying, you're not going to do this again and blah, 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 and you need to prepare. Meanwhile, that electricity grid, the company that owns it, and all those wonderful CEOs of it profited and got a ton of federal aid, and meanwhile, our electricity hiked. So I noticed my electricity bill doubled, and I barely do anything. I don't run the AC unless it's really super hot. The triple-digit weather we've had from June through August, I kept it on 75. I didn't even put it on 65 like I'd really love to. I kept it at 75, sometimes 80, to keep the electricity bill down, and I still had bills over $200. And mind you, my apartment is small. So yeah, everything is doubled, and it's crap. But anyway, long story short, I was immediately sent an email link after applying. I was sent an email link for a personality test. I know my personality type isn't popular. It's quite often the villain, like the Smallville character Lex Luthor. That it's probably an INTJ. Quite often the anti-heroes, the villains, are INTJ personality types. With the exception of Batman. Batman, solid INTJ. And that's my personality. And we're seen as villains because of fact we're thinkers, and we would rather problem solve than show our feels. We'd rather be alone than be around a lot of people. So I think a lot of times just misunderstood. And so for me, I'm a solid INTJ. I don't want to be. I really thought I was an INFJ, and I think because of fact, my first go-to when somebody tells me they have a problem, I'm not empathetic. My immediate thought is I need to help them solve this problem, and I quickly think of solutions, and I say, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And I think that comes off as not being empathetic. When I do feel sorry for them, it's just I'm thinking, how can you solve this problem? And I think it's because I've always been in that situation myself. I don't have time to feel and cry. Like when my dad died, I cried when he died, but after I saw that nobody cared about me and I was going to have to figure out where I was going to live and my situation, I had to start problem solving. When I saw that when I was aging out of the foster care system, that my social workers were purposefully sabotaging my ability to go to college by throwing away my applications and not giving me good reviews to get scholarships, when I actually was a top contender for a scholarship that could have helped me greatly for college. That made me go, I have to problem solve. I have to depend on myself. Had I not had my supernatural spiritual experiences, I would probably be a solid atheist, like most of my family. But I am a Christian. I have had my experiences, and I can't deny that Jesus exists and he's real. He's real. Angels are real. Demons are real. They're real. The supernatural stuff, it's real. So, and so I try not to be arrogant and think this is all on me and I have to problem solve and solve my own life. But I do think that God expects us to use our brain and do stuff on our own. I do think he does help if we pray and ask, and I have been praying and asking, but I have been getting, action. I don't just sit on my ass. I put action and apply at a ton of jobs, and regardless of the position. And I pray about it, and I'm trying to trust that he's closing doors for my sake, and knowing that it'd probably do mental damage like the prior job I had. Prior job in healthcare, and I had an awful supervisor that has totally blackballed me, so I can't use that job on my resume, or CV as you call it. I can't use that, and it sucks because I worked there for 2 years, and I can't use that on my CV because if I do and they contact that job, they're not going to say nice things about me, even though I worked my guts out for the company and I had high reviews and high productivity. So my supervisor is a vindictive, horrible person, and she's vindictive because of the fact she got mad at me for standing up to her and telling her to stop telling me I'm going to have brain damage because of the fact I had COVID, and stop calling me names. She was calling me names and being abusive, and I set a firm boundary. I wasn't abusive or mean about it. I just set a firm boundary, and it obviously hurt her narcissistic feelings because she's not used to being told, don't talk to me like this. This is not okay. And I was firm about it. I told her, you're not a medical professional. You're not a scientist. You're not a doctor. Don't tell me I'm going to have brain damage ever again. This is 3 times that you've attempted to do this, that you've already told me that I'm going to have brain damage, and trying to, in my head, I'm like, she's trying to elicit fear in me for some reason. She's trying to get fear, and usually someone who's trying to elicit fear is trying to control you in some way. And I'm just, I don't like that. I don't like that tactic used in trying to control and coerce somebody. I think it's a evil, manipulative tactic. And so anyway, I didn't tell her all that stuff that I thought in my head about her reason for trying to elicit fear. I just told her, stop it. Short and simple. Stop doing that. You're not a doctor. You're not a scientist. Stop telling me I'm going to have brain damage. And that made her mad. She stopped paying me. And I then reported her for not paying me to her boss and to HR. And then I got let go. And not to mention, I was being sent crap laptops that weren't working, so I couldn't do my job. Prior to this, I was a high performer and used to do assistant manager level work, but not given a raise to do that. So ridiculous. So trying to forgive and move on, because I tried to contact 3 different lawyers to represent me for the not making a safe workplace, so the harassment, the vindication, her blocking me from going to another department, and so again being vindictive, and the other thing, not paying me my salary. And so didn't get help, and I'm just moving on and considering that a door closed from God, and daily trying to let that go and give it to God and try to forgive her and not wish bad karma on her. Instead, trying hard to pray blessings on my enemy. And she is my enemy because the way she treated me, total shit show. The fact that she tried to block me from getting unemployment benefits, on top of blocking me from working in this field, and using that job that I had for over 2 years on my resume to use that for any job I apply at, and it's in healthcare. So she screwed me completely. God, though, allowed me to get my unemployment benefits. I fought for that. I had plenty of proof, and thankfully that caseworker was reasonable and accepted my proof and contacted the company to see if they would refute my proof, and they couldn't. So caught in their lies, and even with that, no lawyer would represent me. So I can't use that on my CV or my resume, which sucks. 2 years down the toilet, and that was hard work. I sacrificed a lot. I didn't have any relationships. I was working from home. I was working crazy long hours, really long hours, more than 10 hours for my shifts, sometimes up to 12 hours. My sleep patterns were crap because I was working late and sometimes grave shift. And so with that, you gain a little bit of weight, and I'm not happy about that. So all the professional clothing I have, I can't fit into. So I'm trying to lose weight by walking my dog and walking by myself, and it's frustrating. So all of that messed up my metabolism, the stress, the not getting good sleep, all of that. It screwed me. So I guess right now is a time to heal, and a time to be still, and a time to trust God that the right job is going to happen. It's just in His timing, and I don't know. It's just frustrating. And to make matters worse, this morning I got an alert that I was going to get a piece of mail from the IRS, and I automatically panic mode. I'm like, okay, 2022 has been a shit show. Biden just hired all these IRS agents to go after middle class and auditing everybody and trying to hike up the taxes, which are ridiculous as it is. Throwing money like there's no tomorrow at Ukraine for their stupid war. I'm sorry. It's not our business. It's stupid. It's stupid. Billions of dollars, and they want more. It's a teat that is dried up, and they won't accept that the teat is dried up. They want more. And it's never ending. And thank God I wasn't being audited. It was just a notice telling me that the financial aid, which is also a government institution, was able to access my information, which I did, to see if I would qualify for any financial aid so I can go to college, since I was accepted at this university, to get a different degree, get a different field going. And yeah, so thank God I wasn't being audited. I was freaking out and crying this morning going, God, 2022 has been such a shit show. Got COVID in January. My dog died in February. My dog, he was my best friend. Anybody that's had a dog that is your true best friend companion, you're going to understand the grief that I went through for that. He was 8 years old. Beautiful, sweet miniature pinscher, just amazing. He was abused severely by his prior owners, and he still had issues because of that, but he was so incredibly intelligent. The most intelligent dog I've ever had in my life. Super smart. I mean, he was so super smart, so incredibly loving and affectionate and sweet. And he could be an asshole at times, but overall a sweet dog. But he died, and it was so rough, and it was hard to forgive the person that I trusted to take care of him while I had to work and while I had COVID. And it was really awful. It was a really awful time. And then to get fired from my job and get blackballed and go, why am I not getting a job? Oh yeah, I need to take this off of my resume. I can't use this job, and I can't talk about it. And then, to make matters worse, I had surgeries in April and May on my eyes because I had to get some heavy-duty steroids and other medications to treat my COVID, because it turned into pneumonia, because I had a hard time finding a doctor or a center to treat me. Nobody wanted to treat me and was super phobic of the Delta variant, which I had. And so it turned into pneumonia, but not so bad that I had to go to the hospital, because I've had severe asthma all my life. So I have a breathing machine, not a breathing machine, but a nebulizer, and I have the things to go in the nebulizer to give myself breathing treatment. So I was already doing stuff to try to help myself, and I wasn't in terrible physical shape, even though I have put on more weight than I want to because of the stress of the job and the hours and not getting good quality sleep. So I had to have surgery. I had to use my 401k to pay for those surgeries. And even after using that, my insurance is crap. They would tell and it was United Healthcare, by the way. Don't ever use United Healthcare. The worst insurance ever to exist. So I paid everything and used my 401k and drained it dry to pay for my surgeries. I had to pay the doctor himself, the clinic for the assessments. I had to pay the surgery center. It was an outpatient surgery. So I had to pay the outpatient surgery times 2 for both times I had the surgeries. I had to pay the anesthesiologist times 2 because 2 surgeries. I had to pay for the treatments and all the stuff entailed for my surgeries, okay? After doing all that and paying all those bills up front to get billed again from these same entities saying I owe money. And I called my United Healthcare insurance and I said, this is not right. I paid them up front. I maxed out my deductible because of the high cost of these surgeries and what that doctor wanted. And I paid him up front for these surgeries. It was $8,000 to him. And then all those fees after the fact. And they're coming at me wanting more money. I need help to fight this. And this lady tells me, well, whatever you paid is between you and your provider. And I was like, what the hell? So she didn't care. And so I just was like, clearly this insurance sucks. And I asked her, I said, are you new or something? Because all the people I keep getting tossed around to every time I try to call to get through to anybody to talk to about being charged more money. These are bloodsucker places wanting more money from me. I paid up front. You can't even have surgery until you pay money up front. You can't have the anesthesiologists give you the stuff to help knock you out until you pay them up front. You can't even go to the outpatient surgery and have the surgery until you pay them up front. Then they take you to the back. So the fact that they're saying I owe more money, this is wrong. There's something wrong here. This seems unethical and criminal, and I want to file a grievance and a complaint about this. And so they refused to file a grievance and complaint and hear me because she didn't know how to do that. I said, can you give me somebody who knows how to do that? I talked to so many different people, all of them entry-level people, customer service, that didn't know what they were doing, didn't know how to transfer me, didn't want to transfer me because they were worried about losing their job. And I'm like, meanwhile, nobody's helping me, and meanwhile, these bills are coming at me. So I'm like, F it. I'm not paying any more money. I maxed my 401k out, paying for these stupid surgeries, paying these entities this money. They quoted me this up front. I paid them up front, and now they're saying I owe even more. They're wanting more. They're claiming insurance didn't cover yada, yada, yada. And so they want even more after telling me insurance was going to cover only this amount. So you're going to have to pay out the ass with this amount. I said, okay, I've already withdrew my 401k. So I'm ready for this. I'm going to pay as much as I have to. I need my eyes to see to do my job. Oh my God. So yeah, meanwhile, getting more bills. So I give up on it. This 2022 has been an absolute shit show. And I still need to get my hair done. I still need to lose weight. I need so much. I wish I could find a guy that I could deeply connect on all levels and just laugh in the middle of the night, have random sex in the middle of the night, middle of the day, whatever, and laugh and have fun, and him laugh at me about all this and help me to not be so uptight and stressed out about it. Get me to leave the house because I don't want to leave the apartment. I feel ugly and I feel like shit. I feel so upset. Meanwhile, this church that I'm associated with that has a Jewish ministry, they wanted me to go to this fancy hotel place. It's not really a hotel. It's a I don't know how to explain it, but it's a fancy thing. And they wanted me to go to be a volunteer server there, and because it's like a high Jewish thing, and I'm like, my hair looks like crap, and I don't have any nice clothes that fit, because for the past 5 years, I've worn t-shirts and yoga pants, and the past 2 years especially have been brutal, and I've put on a little bit of weight, with the stress of the job and the harassment and the constant bullying I was getting. And so I just I had to pass on it, but I'm not going to give up on a guy even though I'm unemployed and have nothing. I don't know where to search for a guy, but I'm not going to give up on it, because I don't think a guy would kick me out of bed for being a little bit overweight. I'm not my ideal weight. I'm 5'4". I should be freaking little, and it would probably help my back and my knees if I was. But I'm not going to stress out about it. I'm just going to be like, you know what, maybe that guy will walk with me more or something, and I don't know. I'm sure he would motivate me or something. And it's hard to find a guy that's a decent guy that isn't on drugs in my age range, and actually works and has a job and isn't living off of somebody else, like family or friends, and isn't a complete douchebag, and doesn't have commitment issues. I think that is the hugest thing, is there's so many guys with commitment issues that just want to have casual sex with everybody, and are sex addicts, and are screwed up. And I'm not here to fix anybody. I know that's pointless, and I know if that is their agenda to have casual sex, that's their agenda. I'm not going to be used in that way. I do not want to have all the STDs that they have to offer. But and I don't want to date a guy that's done drugs or uses drugs actively. And I also don't want a guy that's has misdemeanors and felony convictions. I don't have any of this stuff going on. I think even though I'm unemployed, I think I still have a lot to offer. I may be a former foster kid, but I don't think that should hold me back from a relationship. I did get rejected in college from my fiance because his mother didn't accept me, and then a year later he wanted me back, and I was like, no. He treated me so crappy. His roommate invited me to the wedding, not him. He treated me so crappy. His other roommate, when he would come to town, visited me first to check in on me, not my ex-fiance. And years later, my ex-fiance told me that he didn't feel like he deserved me, that I deserved better, and found me intimidating. And, he rebounded with this lady that was like a giant German lady, giant German ancestry. Like, she was 5'10" and probably easily 300 pounds, and that was accepted by his family. So whatever, he married her on a rebound, and I guess they're happily ever after, even though he's not really happy. His problem, not mine. But because of that situation, I was afraid of guys that had a good family, because I was worried that I would be rejected again, like the way that I was rejected by his family and by him. And so it made me skittish on decent guys, and so I regret that. I wasted my 20s and 30s, and it is what it is. But I'm just gonna keep marching forward, and hopefully the right guy's out there. And if he wants to have a random conversation in the middle of the night and laugh, I will be happy to oblige. If he wants to, paint tiny little Warhammer things and wants my help, I'm probably not as skilled, but I would be happy to do that. I'd be happy to, if he wants me to game with him, I'd be happy to do that. If he wants to do it all by himself, I'm happy for him to do that. If he wants to go hang with his family by himself, I'm happy to do that. I'm an introvert. I don't like to be around a lot of people anyway, so, if he wants to go hang with his family and friends, I'm not a jealous type. Go do it. I'd rather be at home anyway. I want to take him to go do geeky stuff like my festivals. I love my Greek festivals, you know, even though, well, anyway, I love Greek food. I love going to all kinds of festivals like that. I love the horror festivals. I love the Comic-Cons. So any guy that's down with that, I would love that. So that's what my hope is. And as long as he has a job and he's a decent guy and he isn't on drugs, isn't an alcoholic, and doesn't have a misdemeanor or a felony, and isn't a criminal, doesn't have commitment issues, that's what I'm looking for. It's not high expectations. That's all I wish. And it sucks that that's what's out there to date. That is all that exists out there. So I don't know. Anyway, I ranted long enough. 30 minutes. Sorry about that. Thank you for watching.